Hello and welcome to the Quever channel. I'm Jason, your host. I hope you're having a wonderful, splendiferous day, weekend, afternoon, whatever's happening for you. I wanted to talk about the Quingo, my mobility scooter, and what my plans are. If the winter outside doesn't kill it, as soon as we get into the temperature of being about 5 degrees above zero, I'm going to start going out again. I'm, as they say, biting at the bit. I want to be out there, but there's no way I can go out on the Quingo in this weather and be safe. There's lots of ice. Even just looking outside my window through my security camera, I can see that there is massive amounts of ice, and it would be silly of me to go out in it. But once it's done, I want to start exploring the entire area. See, I'm what we call it. Best way, nature locked. It's not a landlocked area and that, but if I show you the map here, let me show you what I mean by it. I want to go all the places around where I live. I live in Stoke-on-Trent, and so let me just show you that. Right, so I live in Shelton, which is just around here near Hanley, and Middleport, Birches Head, Bentley. You've seen me go to Bentley. We've got Trentham Estate, which you've seen me go all the way out to the Trentham Estate. But as you can see, there's massive amounts of green around here. This is like the limitation of where I can go. Let me just add something. There. As you can see, the roads leading out of this area are small. They're tiny roads. They're quite dangerous because they're all like little one-lane places, unless you're going to go down a motorway. Like I would love to go to Alton Towers, but Alton Towers, to get there, I would have to go down many roads that don't have a pavement, and so I can't go on that. But that doesn't mean that I can't visit so many places. There's Birches Head. You've seen me in Bentley. There's Longton. There's Newcastle under Lyme. There's Middleport. There's all of these places around here. There's Burslem. All these places that I want to visit and explore. And the thing about this local area is the massive amount of history. The Western, it is not downplaying it to say the Western pottery industry, the ceramics industry, started in Stoke-on-Trent. This is where it all began. Back in the 1920s, 1910s, earlier than that, nearly every street in the towns and the cities around here had a tiny little pottery place. Normal houses turned into pottery place with a few kilns and a few moulds and so on, and somewhere to mix the slip or the clay and that. And it all began here. And we had the canal system, which was forged and created to move that pottery around. And let me just take that off. And so there is so much history. Like sometimes we'll take you around the street and I show you little things like next to the door on a lot of the terraced houses around here will be a little scraping part there. The people who worked in the pottery kilns and that, with all the clay and everything around, would come home, and it was specific there to scrape their boots on, so that they could go into the house and not take the clay inside the house. These were little things that were built into the properties. All of these small houses that you see when I go around on the Quingo, those were built for the workers And the bigger houses were built for the managers and the owners and the stuff. Like the houses that are around the park that I go, those bigger houses, those were all for the owners and for the managers, the higher ups and that, and so on. And there's so much. There is a massive amount of places in the general area that I can get to on the Quingo. It'll take some exploring because a lot of these places I haven't visited ever in my life, and I want to go around and I want to explore all of the pottery, and I want to let people know about places like my dad. My dad worked at Midwinter Pottery. Now, Midwinter Pottery doesn't really exist anymore. Let me just try and find a little bit about it. Okay, you can look up Midwinter Pottery. It's just Midwinter Pottery, and it can be looked up on the wiki. Was founded by as W.R. Midwinter by William Robson Midwinter in Burslem in 1910. But it's become one of England's largest potteries by the late 1930s, with more than 700 employees. It shut down in 1987. Now, my dad started in Midwinter Potteries as just basically a gopher doing the basic things around there. But he worked himself all the way up into management in that factories, and so he was. I still have some Midwinter ceramics. They did quite interesting pottery type things, the basics and others. They're different styles. But that's just one. There's Middleport pottery, and that's used for some kind of... there was a show on a little back, I don't know whether they still do it, where they do some sort of... I don't know. Let me find out what it was about. Okay, so it was a place where they filmed the Great Pottery Throwdown, Series 4. I remember Paola watching that series as well. I remember sitting and watching that. So we went there. I pushed her wheelchair there one time. And also an episode of Peaky Blinders was filmed there because it's a heritage site, and it still creates pottery. It's still a functioning pottery, but it's actually restored to the old stuff. That's why it's used there. Got the old bottle kilns and stuff like that. So there's so much of the Stoke-on-Trent and the potteries that I could explore with you all on my Quingo once the weather gets a little bit. And I think that's the goal for this year, to spend time doing all that and introduce you to the cornerstone of all the Western pottery, all of the Western thingy where we came from. The only place, China, of course, we even had our own version of that. It was crazy, this place was. And you still see that you can go pretty much anywhere in Stoke-on-Trent. No, don't do this, but if you go a house that you live in, and you'll know this, in your garden, and if you dig up your backyard and that, you will find pieces of pottery. Little pieces of bakeware, little pieces of coloured ceramic and that, because literally when they shut down a lot of the potteries, there was so much thingy. They used it as ground filler and stuff like that in massive amounts of the area. If you walk down the canal path, you will see little bits of pottery stuck in the actual verge, and that little tiny bits from 100 years ago and so on. So that's what I want to do. I want to start exploring all of that, from using this as a home base to do that. I think I can do that, and I think it'd be wonderful to show people. So yeah, This is Jason for the Quiver Channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day.